Hello and welcome to Business Spotlight, where today we are joined by the awesome Nigel Shanahan from 1 Mill Street, Leamington Spa. Nigel, how are you?
Really good, Hannah. Nice to see you again.
So good to see you. So good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. Let me dive straight in and ask, what do you do and how long you've been doing it for?
I do wonder what I do. I'm honest. Today I run 1 Mill Street. I don't actually run it. I'm the founder of 1 Mill Street. Catherine Kellicott actually runs it on a daily basis. I suppose really to give some context, my career has really been in software. So I had a software company that was called Rant and Rave, and it was customer experience feedback software. So it was all about, are you as a customer ranting or are you raving? And I ran that for 20 years. We actually sold it in 2018 to an American software company. And really, I went into semi-retirement and then found the building that is 1 Mill Street, which is a shared workspace. So really, I'm in 1 Mill Street today.
Excellent. And what a space it is. It's an incredible space. I was explaining earlier, it's so friendly and welcoming and really supportive. So with a bit of spare time after selling Rant and Rave, what made you dive into 1 Mill Street? What motivated you to start the shared workspace?
Well, in all seriousness, we sold Rant and Rave, and there were some PR opportunities after selling Rant and Rave where I got asked to be interviewed by University of Warwick Science Park. And it was an interview that was all about, hey, this great success stories come out of University of Warwick Science Park, and the collaboration that took place was sort of, they were attributing the success to the great collaboration that took place. And whilst I played along with it, I really did feel, actually, it was a really lonely experience with zero collaboration. And actually, the world was moving. And what about shared workspaces and the like, which wasn't a unique thing, but shared workspaces done a different way was something that a light bulb went off in my head. And then at the same time, one of the things we tried to do at Rant and Rave and failed was, how would we get involved in charitable projects when we had a bit of slack time? So we had lots of professionals in the building, 140 staff members in the end, and we all wanted to do some good things. We wanted to use our services and our skill set to work with charities. We couldn't find the right charities. We just couldn't. So I thought, right, I'm going to create a marketplace matchmaking service where we can have professional skills, and we call them passioneers, not volunteers, and matched up to charities. So those two things drove me, and that's what I run today, is Make Good Grow on the one hand, and it sits inside of the bosom of Mill Street, and then Mill Street, which is a shared workspace, but it's all about the real collaboration without forcing it. There's sort of a natural thing that goes on where people really do work together.
Yeah, making running a business or being a freelancer less lonely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Make Good Grow, tell us a little bit more about Make Good Grow, if you will.
Yeah, well, as I say, Make Good Grow was born out of this thing of, cool, shouldn't be, there's lots of people who want to do some good, but they want to be able to control the time that they do it in, rather than put their hand up to commit to something and then realize that they've overcommitted because life gets in the way. So we wanted something that was a simpler way of sort of saying, I've got this skill set, I've got this time available, I'm going to pledge that into a marketplace and then see if there's any charities that want to use it. And we've been doing it for 5 years, ever since, we opened Mill Street. We worked with 300 charities and 5,000 passioneers are on our books in some way or the other. And those passioneers are sometimes freelancers, but they're also employees in businesses. So we have businesses like Gately, who are our patron sponsor, who have 1,200 employees, all of whom have in some way committed to be passioneers, all the way down to people who are in a startup or freelance, who have some skill sets. They might be a website developer, and they've said, yeah, if the appropriate project comes, I'll put my hand up. And we're just launching, we're just putting together a concept where we work much more closely with fewer charities. So we still have what Make Good Grow does, but we're going to drill down on 5 charities. We're going to create what I think is the UK's first social accelerator program for 5 charity leaders, where we work with them in detail for 6 months. at a strategic level, and then at a solution discovery level, and then at a campaign execution level, where we use all the facilities of Mill Street to get the message out, and all of the Passioneer skills to help really drive social impact for those 5 charities.
Wow, that's going to be incredible.
Oh, thank you.
It's going to be incredible, and what an impact that's going to have. So,
Yeah.
thank you so much. I'm really pleased that
We're excited.
Yeah, that's so exciting, so exciting. And
Thanks, Hannah.
charity needs help more than ever after lockdown, when it just, you know, it really created that silence for them. And so, yeah, you're out making some real noise. So that's awesome. No, congratulations. Going back to One Mill Street and the collaboration and the realization that it is quite lonely, and so you created One Mill Street for that support. Has it been everything you hoped it would be over the last 5 years?
I mean, it definitely has, without a shadow of doubt, Hannah. I mean, for context, we opened 3 days before the world went into lockdown. So we were in a panic, to be honest. We'd spent a lot of time showing people potential members round, and had lots of people sign up. We were pretty much full on the launch day. And then 3 days later, we went into lockdown, and 2/3 of the members quite rightly said, look, you know, I'm going to go and work from home. A third actually said, I can't work from home for various reasons. Can you give us assurances you can make the space safe and I can work from here? And that's what we set about doing. And that has been, you know, that was at the time it was hard, but it was a delight, really, because we ironed out wrinkles, but we got relationships. We really worked on what do people really need in this workspace. And so it allowed us to really refine things. Came out of lockdown, and yeah, every day we try and improve something. You know, we're absolutely just continuous improvement, and making it better for members to succeed is our mantra, really. So we're always working on a workshop, a program, and obviously Action Coach is, you know, part of our solution mix, which is you know, a lovely partnership.
Yeah, we're incredibly proud to be a part of One Mill Street during for the workshops. Just out of interest, what were the things, because lockdown sort of created that space for thinking outside of the box. So you had a third of your members that wanted to stay, and so therefore it gave you the opportunity to think about what is it that they really need. What were some of the things that they really needed that you might not have thought of, having not had the opportunity through lockdown?
Well, there's a couple of things. Strangely enough, when we started to get some hope that lockdown was going to end, it was loosening up. The members were all, you know, you've got a coffee house, why don't you have a bar? And we'd never thought about a bar. And the more we thought about the whole thing of, we started using a strapline, blurring the lines between work and play. And this whole thing was, the real magic that we were observing was in moments where people were probably not working 100%, but they were sort of socializing, but in a professional environment. And that magic, if we could help with that, there was a bar that could, you know, make that work even more. So we opened a bar and see guys who a week earlier didn't know each other, sat down, you know, as friends, but they were clearly collaborating on projects, you know, and some of our members now have collaborated on literally dozens of different projects. So I think that whole thing about blurring the lines between work and play was a big thing. And the next thing that we're doing, which we're quite excited about, is we're going to launch an app at some stage, which will have at the very center of it a directory, so that you haven't got to hope that you can connect with somebody in the coffee house queue or from a distant view in the workspace. You'll be able to find Hannah from Action Coach, because you'll be able to look up the profile, and there will be some collaboration tools in the app as well. And we're quite excited about releasing that in the autumn.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh gosh, sometimes you have to be really stealth to find somebody's contact details. And so collaboration is absolutely at the heart of everything you do. So, oh no, that's amazing. That's another exciting project to come then. Fabulous. So there's a few things there that I certainly stand you out from the crowd. What else do you think makes you stand out in the co-working space industry?
Well, I think one of them is that the public access. I don't think there's any co-works out there or shared workspaces that allow non-members to come into the space. And we have emblazoned on One Mill Street, everyone's welcome. It's a coffee house, it's a bar, and it is for the public to come in. So I think that adds a frisson of energy that otherwise could become sort of a stale environment. And every day there's a new business person, a new meeting taking place from people who go into the space and work, and there's no shoulder tap about, sorry, are you a member? It's like, no, come work here. And we have dog walkers as well come in, and you know, we have very, very regular, more mature members of the public where they suddenly feel it's our place. We're part of the tribe. And I think that's quite important. It's the community play. You know, you can't say you're creating a community and then create total exclusivity out of it. So we're inclusive. Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, definitely. And I believe there are opportunities to buy cake and get a doggy treat. So I've seen the dog walkers come in. So yeah, I think it is definitely inclusive. What would you say that you could attribute your growth to, Nigel?
Well, I think being the first in town is a benefit. I mean, it's not going to last forever because Leamington is obviously a progressive town, and you know, we are aware of other workspaces coming on stream. But first to move advantage is always a good thing. You have lots of, you know, because we particularly have creative people like new shiny things. I hope that won't be to our detriment further down the line. But I also think being absolutely, I mean, we get together every Monday morning for we call them a level 10 meeting. And it's all about, you know, looking at a scorecard and looking at the member experience and refining everything. How could we do that better? You know, if there was too long a queue in the coffee house, we want to know what can we do to change that. So I think, you know, that mentality of not settling, I think in that environment where there's plenty of energy, you can often get into sort of, oh, things are ticking over nicely. Whereas I'm a bit of a bugger for, yeah, but I think they could be better. What do we think about this? What can we do here? And I probably annoy the team, but that's just how I'm built.
No, I think it's a really great opportunity to turn the dial and for that continuous improvement and to continue the community and inclusivity. How do you get your team to sort of buy in, to feed in? So you mentioned there was sort of a scorecard in your level 10 meeting. So how have you communicated to the team that this is what I expect, this is what we're going to use to measure?
Yeah, well, we've created a vision board, and we look at it every quarter, and the vision board covers, you know, what's our vision, what are our values, what are the 1-year goals, what are our 3-year goals. Really reinforces the point about our values. What are our points of difference? It's an A5 sheet of paper, we get it laminated, and it's very much about who we are, so that if we get in ever any prickly situations, we get that out and go, hold on, but that's us, isn't it? So that decision needs to be this way. So we do that quarterly, and the whole team weighs in to say what's changed for us, what things are no longer relevant. It will never look vastly different, but you often quarterly can tweak it. We then create projects off the back of those quarterly meetings that say, how do we move the dials in a big way? Well, we do big projects. So we have quarterly projects that we call rocks, and then every week we sit down and do the level 10, which is we sit down and go, let's have a look at the scorecard. Let's have a look at the progress on the rocks. Who needs help? Everything okay? Okay, right, let's go. And what that drives, I think, is accountability and a strong culture of people are aligned, they're behind it because they put it together. So it's the, you know, good disciplines of execution, I suppose.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely fantastic. You're all working as one for one clear direction. I think that's absolutely brilliant. Thank you. I think that's a great insight for other business owners as well. My favorite question, because it gives me a different answer every single time, is how do you balance your personal life with the demands of running a business, please? Tell us.
Yeah. I think in the early days I didn't at all. I think the regrets are that I've said this a few times on different things, but if the kids wanted to see me, you know, they would be in bed when I went to work, and they would be in bed when I came home, and it was brutal. And I do regret that. You know, on a Saturday, I even worked on a Saturday, and back in those days, you couldn't work from home. I had to travel to work, and you know, their treat was, you know, Molly and Dan would come in the car with me to work, and Dan would kick a ball against the wall, and Molly would write on the whiteboard, and it was looking at, and the treat was, you know, when I'm finished, which is often late, we go to McDonald's on the way home. What a way, you know, it wasn't great. I mean, it didn't last, it lasted a good few years. I just think that work-life balance isn't great. However, the tools we've got today, the Zooms, you know, some of the things that COVID, I think some of the positives out of COVID are there for us. You know, there's a lot more acceptance of working from home. So you get balance in the sense of, okay, you might still be working, but you can close that laptop down, and within 2 minutes you're not, you know, you're not having to travel home. You are home. So I think there are some benefits of that from a work life. I just think that entrepreneurs do blur the lines between work and life, and we desperately hope that actually work is life, in the sense of not always just brutal and horrible. It's uplifting and inspiring and stimulating. It often isn't, and trying to get the balance. But I think entrepreneurs, type A people that are often entrepreneurs, don't switch off very well, and it's probably it's a problem, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right in that there are definitely tools now and opportunities that we can be more available, be more focused, be more productive. But yeah, giving yourself the opportunity to switch off is really important. And I see your world map behind you. So one thing that we always encourage is, if you're going to work hard, play hard. And where are you going to go? What can you do in order to do that?
We used to say at Rantum Rave, and we do at Mill Street, work hard, play harder.
Yes.
You know? And I think it's a release, isn't it? I mean, I think when you get to the weekend, the release of just downing tools and trying to switch off is very, very important. It's this thing about work on the. I always talk, if I ever give advice to entrepreneurs, I like, you've got to work in the business, you've got to be able to work on the business, but really you've got to work on yourself. And that means no guilt, switching off, recharging the batteries, spending time with family, and not thinking I should be doing X. And that's about good planning. If you're a good scheduler of, right, I know what I've got to do, then it can be cathartic. Tick it off, do it, tick it off, look back at the week, close the week off. Very good. These are the learnings, these are the progress. Switch off and go and work on yourself.
Yeah, brilliant advice. 3 very distinct cups, buckets, however you want to look at it, pots that you need to feed into. Fantastic advice, which leads me into my next question, actually, brilliantly. Some great learnings there. But what would you say has been your biggest learning?
I think the biggest learning. Somebody said to me once on a cruise, an old guy. So we'd never been cruising, and wow, we found it in our 50s. And this guy said to me, he said, "Oh, I'm the non-exec director of," and he reeled off a load of blue chip companies, and he was so impressive. He was the loveliest man, and we were having a cocktail together, me and this. And he said, "What business are you in?" And I sort of started, "Well, I do shared works." And he said, "No, you're in the people business." And I think that's probably the biggest learning, that without a team and a culture around the team, you just can't do it. You know, I just think it is all about people. And I don't mean from a fluffy sense. You know, people want accountability. They want to feel that they've got some autonomy, that they can master their arena. But my biggest learning is, you know, people are your biggest asset. They can also be your biggest liability. You know, this whole thing about hiring slow and firing fast is really important, because a bad person, you know, a toxic presence can really affect a whole team's dynamic and productivity. So this learning is all about people, good and bad.
Yeah. How do you sort of I guess a clear vision, clear focus, clear culture. How do you determine what talent you want to attract, and how do you attract the right talent?
Well, I think if I did it perfectly, I'd be a lot wealthier and more successful than I am, because I think it's just, it's the secret, isn't it? How to get
Right.
great people. I think I specifically look much less at experience, and much less at talent, and much more about attitude.
Right.
It's something that we have a criteria when we interview somebody, and we have stages. We're quite disciplined about how we approach people, about the structure, rather than, because I think you get attracted to people, don't you? Think, oh, that'd be great, and you haven't really sort of been diligent enough. So, but the criteria is heavily weighted towards their attitude. I'm looking for somebody that has an attitude, or a mindset is, don't know the answer, leave that with me. Leave that with me is a golden, it's a golden phrase, isn't it? Because those people, I don't know, here's another problem for you, are the ones that are passing the monkey back to you. Those that go, I've not thought of it that way, and I don't know the answer. Leave that with me, I'll get back to you. When do you need to know? They're golden. And I think those people, if you've got those around you, you're all aligned on what you're trying to achieve, and you're onto something.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that's a good one. Finally, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And amongst all the other brilliant words of advice that you've given us today, thank you so much. What word of advice would you give another business owner who is looking to grow?
Yeah. Well, on the first one, in 5 years, I'm in my late 50s, so I'm hoping I'm healthy and around, and I'm still stimulated by the experience of Mill Street, because it is a labour of love. And I hope that Make Good Grow's gone from strength to strength, in the sense of really delivering social impact out there on our doorstep, which is something that I'm really passionate about. We're spending a bit more time in Spain, so hopefully that's, with our grandchildren. So that'll be a lovely thing. Advice-wise, Hannah, I think it's there's a book from Angela Duckworth which is called Grit, and she's you've probably heard of her, but I saw her speak at a conference many years ago, and she said she'd done this 5-year study on success, and she was going to reveal what success was to us. And she just turned her book around and said grit. And her book is a really interesting read, because it's all about when you really think you're at the end of something. I'm not saying that people should always carry on, but often the seeds of success are there when you really think, this is a desperate situation, this is a real problem to us. I think the biggest learnings and opportunities are in there, and it's really hard to find them and see them at the time when you're in that crosshairs of despair. But I think, the people that you see come out the other side, whenever you hear success stories, they will always have 5, 6, 7 real awful ones. We remortgaged the house 5 times, and on the 5th occasion we were done for. I thought we were going to lose the house. I got amazing words of encouragement from my wife in the middle of the night when I just couldn't sleep, and I said, our life's up in the air, I've ballsed it up, I had a safe job in IBM. And she just said, as long as we've got our health and our happiness, push on, we can live in a shoebox. And it's those things, it's that grit that you need at that moment to just, and it can come from somewhere else. Somebody just says to you, some mentor, a coach just says, just try again, just put one foot in front of the other, and you just never know. And I think that would be my advice.
Fantastic advice. I haven't heard her speak, but I've watched her TED talk, and it's really interesting. And another book that fits really nicely with that is called Fortitude by Bruce Daisley. He talks about what does it kill you makes you stronger. He references grit and Angela, and you're absolutely right. The lessons that we learn are usually from those horrendous times. They're there to teach us a lesson. So fantastic advice. Nigel, thank you so much for joining us on Business Spotlight. It has been an absolute pleasure. everything that you said will be shared, and all of our community will no doubt grasp onto it and implement it into their business straight away. So I just want to end by saying thank you very much, and I hope to see you for a coffee down at 1 Mill Street soon.
Thank you, Hannah. Nice to see you again.
You too. Thanks. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.